The conversation here matches the conversation that I see more broadly on this issue, and it's suggesting that student debt as it is today is totally inescapable. You may even have heard that you can't even get rid of student debt in bankruptcy. But the reality is that that's because we already have in place a safety net for borrowers that makes it so that if monthly payments are unaffordable, they can be lowered based on how much you're earning without penalty. If those monthly payments remain unaffordable for 20 years, a borrower then has their entire balance forgiven, and we are about to see with the passage of the stimulus bill that there is no longer a tax bill that comes along with that for the people who receive that benefit. This is a huge benefit, and it's actually very well crafted to ensure that somebody who goes to college, makes that investment, but doesn't see that return, they're not stuck underwater on their student loans for their lifetime. And someone can look forward and say, I can see that this forgiveness is on the horizon. I'm going to make the minimum payments until I get there. There has been recent criticism of this program, people saying there's only been a few people who have ever gotten forgiveness. That's because it's new. We did not create a safety net for student loans when we created student loans. It was an add-on later on. So
Beth,
people have not gotten to this point.
What kind of sort of realistic, real-world monthly payment are we talking about a person needing to make? Is it sort of in the $75 range a month or more in the $400 range a month?
Well, the thing is, it completely depends on how much someone's borrowing. The way that the monthly payment is how much they're earning and borrowing. The monthly payment is a fixed percentage of their disposable income, which is calculated as the excess over some modest level that is set aside for earnings. For living expenses. The problem with this program is that there's a variety of different parameters. Different people have different eligibility for different rules. It's a mess and it absolutely needs reform. But that reform is the sort of nuanced solution that I'm talking about rather than wiping out student loans and creating all of these.
So I want to take the scenario you painted to Ashley, because Ashley, what I think I hear Beth saying is that even for people who are burdened, she's suggesting there's a way to survive it now, and ultimately a way to get out from under it, though it might take a couple of decades, but that it sort of a suggestion that it's livable as opposed to crushing. What's your response to that?
I mean, I think surviving, right? Why wouldn't we want people to thrive? Why wouldn't we want our economy to thrive? 20 years into repayment, the typical Black borrower still owes 95% of their original balance. The typical white borrower has paid off 96%. So what we are saying when we're relying on income-based repayment, which doesn't work because only 32 people have gotten that forgiveness, and there are
only
so 32?
Many problems. Is that literally
32. True? It is literally true, and I'm
That's
with
because
Beth.
It's a new program, and people haven't reached eligibility
I do
quite
think
yet.
More have reached eligibility than 32. I agree with Beth. We need to fix IBR. And canceling student debt, canceling $50,000 and clearing out the debt of 75% of federal borrowers and 95% of the borrowers in default gives us the space to do that, to make an income-based repayment system that actually works, that's actually affordable and based on an affordable amount of income. And that's not 2 decades long. It should be 15 years, and people should actually be able to get forgiveness at the end of it. And we shouldn't be saying, oh, it's okay for you to struggle and survive with your student debt, especially when we know we're saying that to Black and brown people, to low income people. No one is staying in student debt for 2 decades if they're rich and wealthy. That is not happening.